What is a decimal? Well, it helps to know that in Greek, deca means 10. For example, a decade is 10 years. Or, in the Olympics, the decathlon is a competition where the athletes perform in a combination of 10 different events that involve running, jumping, and throwing. A decimal is a special type of fraction. For example, look at these fractions. All of these fractions have a denominator of 10. I can write 1/10 like this, or like this. This is a fraction that says 1/10, and this is a decimal that says 1/10. I can write 3/10 like this, or like this. This is a fraction that says 3/10, and this is a decimal that says 3/10. I can write 8/10 like this, or like this. This is a fraction that says 8/10, and this is a decimal that says 8/10. When you write down fractions, you can use any denominator you want. You can use 10, 2, 5, 12, 350, whatever you want. With fractions, there's almost no limit to the denominator you can have. It can get out of control. With decimals, you can only have certain denominators. For example, a decimal can have the denominator of 10. A decimal can have a denominator of 100. A decimal can have a denominator of 1000. This dot shape is called a decimal point. With a decimal, moving a numeral to different places changes the denominator. This place is called the tenths place. If you put a 1 here, it means 1/10. This place is called the hundredths place. If you put a 1 here, it means 100th. This place is called the thousandths place. If you put a 1 here, it means 1000th. Let's quickly look again at some decimals using different place values. This is 1/10. This is 100th. This is 1000th. This is 1/10,000th. This is 100,000th. This is 1/1,000,000th. That's really small. This is 1500ths. This is 4900ths. This is 18,000ths. This is 92,000ths. You can combine a whole number and a decimal. For example, this is 1 and 1/10. This is 2 and 3/10. Also, don't get confused. 10 is not the same as 1/10. Here are 10 cakes, and this is 1/10 of a cake. Here's another example. Here are 100 cakes, and this is 100th of a cake. If it's my choice, I'll take 100, not 100th. When you read a decimal, there are different ways you can say it. You can read this as 1 and 2/10, or you can say 1.2. You could read this as 25 hundredths, or you could say 0.25. Let's look at some decimals on a number line. This is 1/10. This is 5/10. This is 9/10. This is 1 and 1/10. This is 1 and 5/10. This is 1 and 9/10. A decimal is really just a fraction. In fact, sometimes it is called a decimal fraction, but a decimal is written differently. This is 1/10 written as a fraction, and this is 1/10 written as a decimal. A decimal is a fraction, but with a fraction, you can use any denominator you want, except for 0. A decimal is a fraction that can only have certain denominators, like tenths, hundredths, thousandths, etc. And instead of writing it like a fraction bar, you write it with a decimal point. Decimals are a type of fraction. They are written with a decimal point, and they can only have certain denominators, like tenths, hundredths, etc.